stories like that, and like Adam and Eve,
What's
and like
silly
the Tower
about
of Babel, things like that.
I think that's like if any of those were real, like that would be like a different sort of reality where laws like that could be either exist
Well,
or
all you're saying when you say that is that it's possible. And that's just like a tautology, right?
But
What
wait,
about
why
the,
is that silly?
or also they could be like an analogy for something that happened, but in a way that was way more technological than we like closer to technology that we have today, but explained in the language of people.
so
Why
secret technology?
Why is that silly though?
Not really secret, like just stuff that we like, even genetics, like so the rib could be like a genetic thing. Those are just like that's like the Old Testament Bible and those stories, like even the God of the Old Testament wouldn't even be considered once you get
Why are the
onto
stories in the Old Testament silly?
well,
Well,
maybe
because
maybe I shouldn't use that
my
word,
bad.
but yeah, maybe I shouldn't use that word, but like just they'd be incoherent with like later stuff as well.
Or I don't think you said it. Someone else did.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, the reason why I
why
take
is
him
it
to be
silly?
silly. Yeah, the reason why I take him to be silly is that like we have evidence to the contrary that shows why those events didn't happen.
Okay, well, I mean, we have conflicting accounts of a lot of things. It doesn't mean that one that has less evidence is necessarily silly.
Yeah, I do take that. That's what I mean by silly. I use it in the same way. I use it in the same way as when like Hindus have their beliefs that don't make any sense, and most of them reject because they know that it was probably like some sort of parable or whatever.
According to you, if there was an alleged murder, right, and the suspect is the butler, and 2 people believe the butler did it, and 3 people believe the butler didn't do it, then according to you, it's silly to believe that the butler did it. Right?
Well,
That's not what he said.
Not really. Not really.
follows.
Right. Not really. Let me give you a better analogy. There's one dude, right, who's friends with the butler, right, and says the butler didn't do it, right. And there's 4 people or 5 people, right, who say the butler did do it, right. And so that's the kind of like evidence I'm working on. And so, like, when I look at that evidence, I have to compare whether or not the butler did it or didn't do it, right? I'm probably going to agree with the people who said the butler didn't do it for various reasons, that including nepotism.
Yeah, but you're saying that the case that is less probable, that is, more people believe that the butler did it, then it's silly to believe that the butler didn't do it, even if there's just one less person on the side of the butler not doing it.
So I have a question.
That's your position.
Well, I wouldn't say that. After I say this, Brenda can go, and I probably have to go after this as well. I wouldn't say that silly, right? But all I meant by silly in that case was working.
That logically follows from your position.
Yuri, he's just trying to discount theories and things proven.
Right, I know, but like anyone who was listening knows all I meant by silly was basing it off the fact that like there isn't like a 3-2 chance, and there actually is like greater than that, right? Of evidence that shows why the stories in the Bible didn't happen, right? And so that's all I'm basing.
Even if that were true,
that is true.
Right?
Yeah, the Tower of Babel didn't happen, and it just look, for example, the Tower of Babel didn't happen, right? Because we have whole linguistic studies, right, that show how language evolved from Indo-European to Indo-African and all those languages, right? And we have a good theory that can make predictions, right, that explains why those things happen. And another reason, it's not just the evidence, right? But what makes the Tower of Babel so silly, just one more thing, right? What makes the Tower of Babel so silly is that story is just a just so story, right? And that story can't make any predictions, right? And the fact that it can't make any predictions also shows why it's really silly.
Why?
Okay, I might agree with your last point, but your
because it can't make any predictions, right? So it doesn't have any utility. It's by definition a just so story.
Tower of Babel, the story is silly. First and second points were really bad. I might agree with your third one.
The last one's the worst.
They weren't. You wait. You don't think that like if there's more evidence, a preponderance of evidence, right, for one position, and that evidence is greater than like the other position, that it's not silly to believe the position with like significantly less evidence? You think that's
It
silly?
doesn't have to be significant. It doesn't have to be significantly less.
Look,
Right?
this
You
is too
also-
fucking easy. If I
But
told you that my dog,
that's all I'm claiming. But futile God, that's all I'm claiming, right?
Your position was that there was a if there was a preponderance of evidence supporting one proposition, right? Then they would be silly not to believe.
look, buddy, if I have breakfast sitting on my table and my wife comes in and says the dog cooked it, would it be silly for me to think that? Right, because if I invoked your kind of fucking stupid skepticism, it wouldn't be silly, right?
I didn't say
Right.
that.
Oh,
So take your fucking
No.
stupid analogy and run somewhere else. That was real fucking dumb.
No, hang on.
yeah, that was
His
really
point
stupid.
was
I'm
that-
actually out of all the things I said, the fact that you jumped on that one, this really shows that you're probably new to this game and you're pretty silly when it comes to believing.
Wait,
this
no,
stuff,
I'm
so.
silly. Hey, come on. Okay, so just because there's more evidence for one
Yeah,
proposition
you believe in
doesn't
pre-sub.
mean
Yeah, you're pretty silly.
that a conflicting account is necessarily silly.
Yeah, no one made a necessary claim.
Okay, but you were making the claim that the
No,
Tower of
we were
Babel
talking.
is a
No,
silly story
dude.
because the
No,
preponderance
dude.
of evidence was
Necessary. Look, dude. Necessary would mean that it would be true in all possible worlds, right? But of course, there's like a possible world in which that wouldn't be silly.
Okay.
So no one was making a necessary claim. In fact, we were talking about probabilities, induction, and evidence, right? Which is the complete opposite of talking about things that are necessary.
Okay, I understand.
Can somebody let that guy out of the dungeon he's locked in?
Oh, he's in his bathroom, I think. It sounds like.
Talking or don't want me?
It sounds
Oh,
like
no.
you're in the bathroom, Yuri.
I'm in a hotel hallway.
Fucking.
Oh, okay. I'm just being funny. Feudal God. So
What's up?
if you're going by best available evidence and stuff, I assume that what you're going by is the eyewitness testimony, which is in the Bible, correct?
Sorry, what? Am I going off of the eyewitness accounts?
Miranda, he's not a theist, by the way.
He's not a
I think
theist.
it would be better.
You're not a theist? Okay.
Pardon?
No.
Well, he
No,
seemed to
I'm
be
a
arguing
theist.
for that point of view.
He likes to LARP.
Oh, you're
No, I'm
LARPing?
just saying. I'm just saying it's not necessarily silly to believe in something that has less evidence than another proposition, right?
I think it kind of is, yeah. So, but that
Really?
case is
Then
Skinny
maybe-
Pete.
then
Skinny
we'd be
Pete already
appealing
made
to
that
consensus.
argument. Skinny Pete already made that argument. I thought you were a theist, putting forward a serious debate point, and I was going to engage on that. But if you're just LARPing, then never mind.
What? I'm a theist. I'm not LARPing. But I don't think it's silly to believe in something that's divergent from the consensus.
You're a Christian then?
No,
You're not
but
a
my
Christian.
point is, my point
You're
is,
Muslim. You're
Okay.
Muslim. That would be
No.
the next Hindu?
No,
Ignore that.
No, my
Mormon.
point is
Mormon.
My point
You're a
is-
Mormon.
Hang on. My point is, right, that I don't think it's necessarily silly to believe something that's divergent from a consensus. Right, the consensus can be very wrong. Right, at many points, we believe we were at the center of the
So you
universe.
picked
We
up the
believed that Earth was
goalposts.
flat.
You picked up the goalposts and moved them over a bit. So yeah.
No, but he is right. Like science is always changing. Evidence could arise to prove
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
could
silly
you
to
could
even
re-
reinterpret
you could
the evidence
believe
that's already
you
there.
could
Earth
believe
was
in alternate
round
hypothesis.
in
You
a
could,
time
for
where
instance,
everyone thought that the Earth was flat. It's
And
not
we
silly.
can learn that we lost the gene that let us fly. Who fucking cares? It's silly.
yeah. Nobody's
Well,
ever
It's
thought.
not
Nobody
silly.
ever
It's not
thought
silly.
that the Earth was
to
flat.
believe that the Earth was round in a world
Nobody
where
thought-
everyone else thought that the Earth was
Nobody
flat.
thought the Earth was flat. Educated people have known the Earth is round for 2,600 years.
I'm saying.
People think
if,
the Earth is flat today.
Yeah, but that's a modern conspiracy theory. It's a reaction
or
to
heliocentric,
modernity.
whatever. Just It can be anything. You just replace it with anything. And
I don't care that
if
you're
you
taking
believe
issue that
something,
you're using the word silly. It's silly to believe silly shit, right?
well, that's just
No.
tautology.
So
That's
don't
not
be fucking
validity.
stupid.
You have to know what the consensus of a certain thing is to know if it's silly to be divergent
Yeah,
from
there
Nobody's
will
it.
making an
be
onslaught
there
of
will
I think
be
like
a
it,
sort of
knowing if
a
I
it's
think it can
silly.
be
there
silly
will
to
be a
believe
set of
consensus,
normative
and
there'll
I
be a
think it
set of
can be silly
normative
to not
beliefs
believe the
about what is and
consensus.
isn't silly. There'll be a set of normative beliefs about what is and isn't silly in any generation. Maybe there was a time to believe things back in the 17th century that we today would think is silly, but it was
Yeah.
normative to believe those.
I
Yeah, and
think
it could change
I
in the
think we can-
future again to be not silly. So maybe there's no
I
reason
think
to
it can
say
be
that.
silly. I think it can be silly to believe in a consensus, and I think it can also be silly to
Who
not
fucking
believe
cares,
in a
man?
consensus. Hmm?
Why is that
Yes.
interesting?
Not believing in a consensus isn't necessarily
Who
silly.
fucking cares? Why is that interesting?
That's my only point. It's what we were. Well, it's
Okay,
obviously
shut
interesting
up.
if we're
You're
talking
fucking
about it.
stupid.
Well, it's obviously interesting to some extent if we're talking
Nobody
about it.
wants to hear you invoke global skepticism. It's fucking dumb.
Okay.
Right. I was gonna ask you Ron a
Great
question, but he left.
contribution to the discussion. Thank you for that. So, Brenda, what were you asking me earlier? Or if anyone else wants to
I
go
was
ahead.
asking what particular you're a theist. I was asking what particular kind of theist.
I take like a panentheist view.
Panentheist?
Marsa. Panentheist, yeah. I'm
Or
not religious.
panpsychic? Panpsychic?
If you're asking if I'm
Panentheist?
religious, I'm not.
Panentheist? Panpsychic?
That's what I just said.
One of those.
Panentheist.
Some panentheist.
Yeah, sorry if I wasn't talking clearly. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
What's
that's
the
a silly
difference?
belief.
What's the
Pardon?
difference between that and pantheism?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, what's a panentheist?
Well, panentheist is that everything is God. Basically. But the pantheist is a separation between everything and God.
So I'm God then, according to that belief.
You are God?
In panentheism, everything is God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
so
Yeah, exactly.
I'm God. Awesome.
We are God. Everybody here is God. We are all just fragments of the being of the eternal being, right? And then we reach. Is there a return when you die? You return or something like that?
I don't believe in death. I believe death is a social construct.
Oh, so you're LARPing
This is where we
again. So he's
fucking
LARPing
get-
again. So he's LARPing again. I'm going to go with the previous thing that you're just a fucking moron and we should ignore you.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can do that, but people don't want to for whatever reason. Pantheism is just that God is the equivalent to the universe, but panentheism is that the universe resides in God, right? With theism, classical theism, right, God and the universe, there's a separation, there's like a disconnect, but everything in the universe is a reflection of God's nature, not vice versa. With pantheism and panentheism, that is the case, essentially. So.
Well, may I talk to feudal God for a second?
You may.
Okay, so at what point does you being a god and you not being a god stop? What's the limits?
I don't understand the question.
Well, according to you, everybody is a god, yes?
No, everything is God.
Okay, so everything is God. What are the limits? At what point do things stop being a god and start being a god?
That question is incoherent because some things cannot not be God.
So if
Since
everything is
everything is God. You
I
can't have
understand.
some things that are not God.
So if everything is God, then how do you determine what is God and what is not?
There's no such thing as a not God thing. Everything is God. You can't have something that's not God.
That's fine. So what are the attributes of the God you're talking about?
I guess self-referential knowledge. I think I like you know Alan Watts? Of course you do. You're an atheist.
Wait,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
he's like
You said what?
we are a way for the universe to know itself. I couldn't take that view.
Would you believe God is omnipotent and omniscient and all that?
Sure.
Because he's everything. But you
Yeah.
aren't omniscient and omnipotent.
Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah? Is there how is that possible?
Because I'm God.
Yeah, I think that's what Hitch Atheist is getting at. But
Yeah, is my dog God?
Yeah.
so why don't
So
you exhibit any of the properties of God
I
in
do.
that sense? Like, are you everywhere? Or...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
God is everywhere. If
I
I'm God,
move
then
to
I'm
vote him off
everywhere.
the island,
Obviously,
please.
that's just like modus ponens.
well, this is
Well, not
simple.
modus
Right.
ponens.
So,
No, that's not actually, but
feudal God, you're an omnipotent, you're all knowing. Where am I right now?
where are you in the universe?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's an easy guess. Where am I specifically?
You know, therefore I know.
Okay, if you know,
All is
then
one and
where
one
am
is
I?
all.
If you know, then where am I?
Well, you and I are the same. So you know, therefore I know, basically.
Great, and I'm telling you to tell me what you know. Where am I?
You're literally talking to yourself, dude.
No, are you me?
Yes.
Okay,
That's why I
then you
said
tell
what
me.
one is all is one.
Great, where am I?
Monist.
What state am I in?
Do you know what state you're in?
I do. Which state am
Yeah,
I in?
okay, I know then.
Then tell me.
Well, you already know. What's the point in telling you
All right,
something you
tell
already know?
us.
You're literally talking to yourself right now.
Is it
Cool.
Carolina?
No.
Yeah,
Sorry.
off the island. Off the
I'm
island.
I'm
Off the island.
I'm kind of larping on this pantheist, and I kind of take more of a deistic approach, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not religious though.
I think you're psychotic, to be honest.
Well, the more
Maybe.
parsimonious one would be he's just a troll LARPing,
Well,
which was the original thing. So yeah, I agree with that.
I yeah, I don't really disagree with that. I don't like the troll label though. I mean, I don't think I'm being like dishonest.
Guru, or sorry, Brenda's a guru like you, brother.
Yep.
She also believes in all these things.
No,
Wait, are
I
you
don't. I
pantheist
don't
or
believe any of
deist?
those things.
Yeah, Brenda meditates every day.
I do meditate, not
That's
always every
right.
day, but that doesn't mean that I believe in
Yeah.
pantheism. That doesn't follow at all.
Meditech.
I don't either, but I think it's a very
whether you believe it or not, you are advocating and spreading a panentheist religion.
well, it's not really a religion, is it?
Buddhism?
No,
Hinduism?
pantheism.
Yes.
Or
Yes, they are religions.
panentheism. Unless you're saying, I've talked to atheists who believe that like believing in God is necessarily a religious belief. I don't believe that, but like
So I mean, you're spreading a religion, Brenda.
Yeah,
That's why
is theism a religion?
That's why you're the guru.
Well, no, say believing in God is a religion is kind of not a true term because it depends on what God that you say you believe in. You could believe in some God that you don't actually believe exists, and then therefore that wouldn't be a religion.
Well, when we say belief in God, we're talking about believing that God exists. So
if there's a religion that you don't believe in and you run around practicing that religion and telling people how amazing practicing that religion is, does it really matter what you believe? I mean, you're spreading that religion.
It
I
would
think it
matter
matters.
to the
I think it
cult
matters what you believe
followers.
so much, and you value what you believe.
I think, actions are more important than beliefs, right?
I agree with that.
Right, Brenda?
You go right ahead. I think you two are made for each other.
No, Brenda, I'm asking you a specific question. Brenda, are actions more important than beliefs?
Yeah, I kind of think so. Yes.
Yes, of course they are. Now, you advocate for meditation and yoga as ways to relieve stress and make you feel better. Correct.
Wait, what if your actions don't comport to your beliefs?
Look, Brenda can't even answer. She can't even answer the question. Brenda, you advocate for the use of meditation and
Yeah, I think it's a helpful practice
yeah,
for people to
you
pursue
willingly
if they wish to. Sure.
and you willingly preach the benefits to people. Correct.
No, I don't. I don't really preach.
Well, I how do you think I found this information?
I talked about
Kind
it,
of
but
a
talking.
loaded
That's
term,
right.
though.
That's
Yes,
right.
Like,
You
yes,
came in
it's a
and
loaded
said
term.
you were
It's a loaded
telling
term.
when
It's,
you
someone.
I
preach
don't
something,
preach.
it's
I
like,
don't
oh,
preach.
Well, what's the
Religion.
best? What's the better word instead of preach? You.
I'm willing to talk about it.
promote,
Yeah, you promote. Thank you. You
endorse
promote
it.
these practices, right? So therefore, if actions are more important than beliefs, and you promote these practices, which are religious practices, you are, evangelizing the religion.
Meditation is not religion.
It is.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm sorry.
It's he's saying it's a religious practice, right? Not
It is
that it's
absolutely a religious
religion
practice.
It's
itself. This
not.
is like no
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is
meditationism. It's that
100% a religious
No.
practice.
There are people who are religious people who practice meditation, but the reverse is not necessarily true.
Meditation is
I'd agree
synonymous
with that.
meditation is synonymous with religion.
I
That is
disagree. I
not
disagree.
true.
I disagree.
Whoa,
It's
That
100%
is
wait,
true.
what?
It's 100% true. And
Meditation is equivalent
irregardless
to
if you're trying to
religion?
make it, regardless if you're trying to make it a agnostic practice, it doesn't matter if what you're trying to make it. Okay, when you talk about meditation, you are spreading the tenets of Buddhism, which is to meditate.
Yeah, that's false.
How is that
Wait,
false?
if you're preaching peace and love to people, is that like a religious endorsement? Because it's so well associated with Christian values.
Some would say yes, but the case for that would be much harder than for meditation. That's an easy case.
Well, love is a
This is a
practice,
very
just like
specific.
meditation is a
Meditation
practice.
is a very specific and esoteric practice that's very specific to certain
Well,
religions.
you wouldn't
This
have the
isn't just some.
concept of
This is
love if it weren't for
Well,
Abrahamic
this
religions.
is a very difficult
And
practice of putting yourself into a trance-like state through known practices. This is not some universally done practice. This is
it's
something
only
that was
universal. It's only
very
universal.
specifically.
Hang on.
This is something that was
It's only
created in.
universal. It's only
Excuse me.
universal
Excuse
because
me. I'm not done here.
okay.
Okay.
hold on. Meditate.
This is a very specific practice. Okay, this is not some generally widespread thing. This is a practice that took a long time to gain popularity and was carried on by a specific group of religious people for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah,
Okay,
everything that you just
meditate.
said, everything that you just said is also true of love, right? We wouldn't have this concept
No,
if it weren't for Abrahamic religions. The reason that we have it
that's not
today is
true at
because
all.
this
Love has been
idea has
around.
been progressively
No,
inculcated into Western society.
No, love
Right.
has been around. Love is not very specific.
It's a Christian value.
No,
Whoa, love is not a Christian value,
It's
and
universal.
It
meditation
is.
is not a religious value. What are you people talking about?
It is.
It's
of
not a
course.
religious value because we don't associate it with religion anymore. It's become a secular value now, but it was originally a Christian value. It came
Well, it's
from
like
Christianity.
saying God has nothing to do with religion because God existed before religion. So did love.
Wait,
And it will
hold on.
exist
Yeah,
now
you can
after.
believe in God without being religious.
Yeah, but when we're talking about
You
meditation
can love
being
people
part of,
without being religious.
yeah,
Yes,
but
You
when
can
we're talking about
meditate without being
meditation.
religious.
when we're talking
These
about
practices
meditation,
and these practices and beliefs have often been the case. It's often been the case that these practices have been disassociated with their respective religions. Right? That's why people meditate but aren't religious. That's why people love each other but aren't religious. That's why people believe in God but aren't religious. Right?
Sure.
There's always a disconnect between the practices and beliefs of a particular religion and the actual religion itself. Right? People pick and choose what they want from a religion that they find beneficial to their lives. It doesn't make the practice or beliefs any more or less religious. In fact, it isn't religious at all if they say it isn't.
Yeah, Brenda, you know,
Religious
I'm a
social construct.
full blown yogi monk, and I got my start in meditation from an agnostic teacher, a teacher that was teaching me this practice without a religious component, and now I'm full blown Buddhist. You see how that works, Brenda?
So you're full-blown Buddhist.
I mean, I'm a universalist, but yeah, I am. And I got my start by being taught an agnostic meditative practice. But meditation is, a tool that is used to basically convert atheists. Did you know that, Brenda?
Wait, yoga?
Yes,
yoga as well.
these tools convert atheists all the time. Truly they do. They're very powerful tools of conversion. Brenda, are you there?
Do you think drugs and raves also do? Do you ever notice like a combination of Buddhist sort of Eastern Eastern religions and like raves, whole imagery and all of this stuff? It's almost like it's a weird recruitment area. Perhaps you disagree. So do you believe
I'm
that
not
if
familiar
you
with Eastern raves.
No, like wasn't there like Goa trance? I think Goa is a region in India. So there's this direct link between, you know, rave, the old rave culture and taking drugs and all that with the Eastern religion. It certainly had nothing to do with Catholicism or Christianity.
Yeah,
I
I've been
suppose
here. I've been
it's
here.
a good way to indoctrinate people if they're mad out of it, I suppose.
I don't think raves indoctrinate people.
I think they do.
Why is
I think
that?
society indoctrinates people inherently.
Well, that's
Yeah.
called growing up. Yeah, so your parents do that. So yeah.
Brenda, did you hear my story that I was converted to
Yeah, I
theism
heard that.
through?
I heard that.
Okay, well, what's your response?
No, I'm not really interested in interacting with you.
Why? What's wrong with questions? Why have they so offended you? You can't even articulate why you're so offended by these questions?
Sugar, what are you doing?
I'm making a very powerful philosophical argument to Brenda, and she's losing, and so she's now pulling the "I don't interact with you"
Yes,
card.
I'm definitely losing. Definitely.
Well, then answer that. Why do you can't you participate?
I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested
I'm not crazy
in these
like
little.
futile God.
I'm not interested in these little games of yours. This is just
How
a
is
little
this a
game
game?
of yours. Yeah, I'm just not interested.
How is this a game? Asking you if meditation and yoga can be tools of conversion, right? Whether they're religious or not. How is that a game? Why is that not just an interesting question? This was literally my life. I was converted by yoga and meditation from atheism.
From everything you talk about, you still suffer from some of these things you claim yoga cured.
I mean, certainly not.
Why do you
certainly not the
medication?
major disease. I don't use any medication. I haven't
Yes,
used
you do.
medication in a long time. It's not true.
Your Klonopin?
I haven't used Klonopin in 6 months.
Why do you even have a prescription still?
Oh, as someone who once had a major disease that Brenda is familiar with, uh, I
Yeah, but
had
if yoga and meditation can cure
upwards
it, why even have the
and had around
medication?
2,500 panic attacks in my life. Yeah, I carry it around. But yeah, I don't. There was a period of about 7 years I didn't use any medication, including not Klonopin, and you know, and I'll probably get back to that. Yeah.
Why even waste your money on the prescription though if yoga and meditation fix it?
Well, with insurance, Klonopin's very cheap. You know.
Yeah, but it's a few extra bucks you can save.
Yeah. Well, believe me, I haven't took a Klonopin in a
Look,
very long time.
Sugar, you need to take the dive. Just cancel that subscription, man. Just go full yoga and
Sure,
meditation.
okay,
Let us
I'll
know
do
how
it.
that
I'll
works.
do it just for you. I'll do it.
Good.
I'll cancel it.
Glad
I'll
we're
do it.
moving forward.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was taught mindfulness techniques as part of treatment in DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy. And that type of treatment, the mindfulness is meditation, but it is non-religious, it's secular, and it's simply a way of coping with stress, anxiety, and depression. I suffer from the last of those, depression a lot of times. Not so much lately. Well, if I read the news, then I suffer a lot of depression. But that's all it is. It's not a religion, and it is kind of offensive, Sugar, that you refuse to take what I say and what I mean about myself at face value, and it is offensive when you try to tell me what my experiences are.
It's inquisitive questioning. That same therapy modality is what made me a theist. I began meditating and immediately had religious experiences that said, "Whoa."
Did you hear the last part of what I said?
Yeah, you said
Yeah,
that.
it's offensive when people. This is something I learned in therapy. It is something that a lot of people have go to therapy about, is being told all their lives what they are feeling, because there are people like you who tell other people how they ought to think, what their experiences are. You will deny, or say somebody says, I have a certain feeling, and you will tell them, no, you do not, and that is offensive, and it's a boundary violation.
Look, as an atheist, you do the same thing to theists. Now,
No,
let me ask
I
you
don't. No, I
Wait,
don't.
how so?
I
so?
do not, because when we enter into debate, that's a different thing.
Great.
This
This
is
is
a
a
debate
debate
doesn't tell people
server.
how they
This is a
feel.
debate
That's what she's
forum.
telling you. She's telling you that you
Why
tell
are you
people
taking
how they
offense on a
feel.
debate forum?
Yeah.
Now-
So when I tell you,
This isn't a debate.
Yeah. So Sugar, when I tell you that my meditation is not religious, and then you say no, it isn't. It is religious. You are telling me you're being the typical toxic male,
No,
telling
this is a
people,
great-
telling women how they feel. So
This
thank
is a
you for
great-
continuing the patriarchy, you conservative fuck.
This is a great.
shit.
I'm very liberal. I'm
He's
very
probably
liberal.
He's probably
Brenda,
guilty of
Brenda,
that,
this
but I
is-
don't
this
think
is
it's the
one of the- this is one of the
patriarchy
most
that gets
ongoing
it.
contentious
I
debates of our time.
I was just slathering it on. That's all
Good,
I
good,
was
good,
doing.
good.
This is one of the most. This is one
Because
of the
I
most
just think
contentious
it's his
debates
lack
of
of
our
brain
time.
cells
This
that
isn't some
is
cut and
for-
dry
is the
thing.
reason for
Okay.
this
Yeah,
issue.
I agree.
And
It's
it
the
went
lack of
political
brain
then,
cells.
okay.
Lack of brain cells.
Do you even know? I have Marsha Linehan's memoir right now. The woman who created that modality. Do you know any about its creation? You know anything?
I
about
have
its
mad
history?
respect for her. Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen videos about her,
Okay, great.
and the things that dialectical behavior therapy could do. It was originally created to treat heroin addicts, and she was successful in
It was
treating
initially
heroin.
created.
Excuse me.
It was
Excuse
initially
me.
created to create bipolar. I'm sorry.
Bipolar was next.
No, not
It
that.
was
I'm
first.
Sorry,
It was
personality.
It was heroin addicts at first, and then she did then she did a lot of the clinical studies and broadened it. But she had experience. I mean,
That's
she
not
had
true.
she
It
had
was created-
positive she had positive results treating heroin addicts with DBT.
I'm looking at
which
her
is
memoir
just
right
DBT.
now. I'm looking at her memoir right now. It was for borderline personality. She originally created it, not heroin addicts. Okay, get your history correct.
No.
Second of all, I
that
was asking you
that was later.
prior to that.
Can you post your
No,
link, Sugar?
No. It was
Can you
created
post your
for
link, Sugar?
borderline personality. That was it.
Can you post your link, Sugar?
Yeah, absolutely, I will.
Thanks.
Now, secondly,
Go
I
ahead.
was asking.
No.
Any
Before
second.
Sugar,
Go.
before you move on,
Sure,
post it now.
Yes, I will show right now.
No,
God,
right
Brenda's
now
so wrong
before you
about
move
this.
on.
Right meow.
I mean, Brenda is just wrong.
Right meow.
Keep just post the link.
Well,
don't complain.
I'm willing to be shown wrong, but my
Yes,
my
you are wrong.
recollection from my therapist is that it was, and from the videos that I've seen is that it was originally created to treat heroin addicts, and then, since it was successful, she then went through a series of clinical trials, and then once the clinical trials had been done, it was expanded on to cover borderline personality, anxiety disorder, and depression and other things. It's one of the few treatment modalities that insurance companies will actually pay money for.
Could you,
Yes, this is
spell her
all
name out
true,
for me?
except for you're confusing heroin with
Sugar, we
borderline
need that link.
personality disorder.
Sugar, before we move on, we need that link.
What's the name
Sorry,
of the?
bud.
What's the name of the?
DBT.
Marsha Linehan, dialectical behavioral therapy. There might be there probably is an entry in Wikipedia. It's been forever.
Dialectical behavioral therapy.
Yeah, it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy plus mindfulness. It's the same thing.
And you guys are talking about this is the woman who came up with DBT.
Right. It's cognitive behavioral therapy, and then she added the addition. She had the addition of adding mindfulness practices to cognitive behavioral therapy.
Sugar, why is a copy and paste taking you so fucking long?
Jeez Louise. Okay, and are you gonna suck my dick once I post this into general chat?
No, I just want to see the fucking link. I'm asking you why it's taking you
Created
so long.
for borderline personality disorder.
Why can't you
everyone knows
actually
that.
post the actual
Everyone-
thing? Why
everyone
do you
in
have to
the
do
world-
screenshots?
Everyone
Let's
in the
hold on.
world
Sugar
knows
needs
that it was
some
created for
tech
borderline
support
personality
really quick.
disorder.
That's
Okay, I'm
obvious.
tired
Sugar,
of the dishonesty.
do me a favor really quick.
Thank
Go
you.
to the little app on your phone that says Safari. Let me know when you're there.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Great. Do you see that little bar at the top where it has a little lock symbol next to it followed by a URL?
So you want the article? You can
Can
look
you
it up
click that?
yourself.
Can
There it
you
is.
click
I
that
posted.
link?
I posted the
He
link.
posted
There you
it.
go.
I don't know
The
why you
relevant
can't just do that
information
first.
is
There
right
you
here.
go. Thanks, buddy.
Sugar, your nickname is amazing.
Linehan found that there was support for the use of dialectical behavioral therapy with borderline
I
personality
can read
disorder.
Sugar.
Boom.
Are people arguing against DBT?
No, the history of it.
No.
Brenda thinks it was created initially for heroin addicts, which is completely false. It's just fake news. It was initially created for borderline personality disorder, which was a new diagnosis.
She actually did not know
Marsha-
anything about borderline personality disorder, but
Oh
came
my
to find
God,
out about
sir,
it later. So why was it
Okay,
created?
Yeah, this
She
isn't the
designed-
hill I'm interested in
Why?
dying on.
Why
She
would it?
herself-
Why would she create it
okay,
to fix
this is
something
fucking
she
driving me
didn't
up the
know
wall.
existed?
I have her memoir. Okay, she invented dialectical
I have
behavioral
her
therapy
memoir.
because she herself had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. You
Is
fucked
anybody-
her.
She
Is anybody
actually did not
criticizing DBT?
know anything
No.
about borderline personality
No,
disorder.
this is a sugar discussion about a completely useless point.
No,
It is.
Brenda made a lie and refuses
It's
to admit
the-
that she was wrong.
I don't have to look. The
DBT
screenshot
is
you
awesome.
posted
And
says
everyone's
right here.
defending her for some reason, which is ridiculous.
DBT is
Brenda,
well
just
known
admit
for
you
treating
misremembered.
borderline personality disorder. But
yes, it is.
Marsha actually did not know anything about BPD until after she created this treatment.
Yeah, and my contention.
Say that?
My contention.
How can she create it for DBT?
It doesn't
How can
say
she
that
create
anywhere.
DBT? Right here. in the
Sugar, it
second
says it in the
paragraph.
thing you linked.
And not even the thing you linked, the fucking
Oh, yeah.
screenshot.
Like what? Oh, I don't know what they're saying here, but the point is
Once
that
again,
as
Sugar
you
doesn't
see very
read.
clearly. Okay, fine. You want another link? You want her own words?
Sugar,
Well-
it's in the thing that you're citing as the
Okay,
source that
let's
supports
let's
you.
do her own words.
it isn't a hill I'm necessarily anxious to die on.
Yes, you're wrong. Just admit
My
it, you're wrong.
recollection of a video about DBT that I remember watching in group therapy said that she started it to treat heroin addicts, found it was useful, then did clinical trials, passed the clinical trials, and then expanded on to everything to other treatment to treat other things. That's my understanding. I don't care. It's not a big deal.
Okay, so I want you to admit that she created it for borderline personality disorder.
No,
In fact,
Sugar.
just give it
So look
up.
at this. In the 70s, when Linehan
No, I
first
will not
started
give it up.
working, stop. You're
Truth
over talking.
matters.
Sugar, stop.
You're over talking. In the late 70s, when Linehan first started working with suicidal individuals, who she meant to address this DBT with, was for depression and suicide. And her first trials weren't only not successful, but were found to be counterproductive to what she was trying to treat, which was not borderline personality disorder.
Look, anyways.
Oh.
Anyways, I once
here's the
again
important
linked
history.
an
Look,
article that proved I was
own you.
wrong.
Alex,
Can you
I've
say
owned
that
you
for
on
me
so
out
many
loud?
things, and I will continue to own you. If you're going to say that it wasn't created for borderline personality disorder, you're wrong, and I will happily own you. Okay?
Sugar,
Real
it-
quick-
sugar,
real quick
sugar,
before we get
sugar.
Let him finish, because I feel
Real
bad.
quick before we get to that, okay? Because it bores me. Brenda, the
Oh, yeah,
real
it
reason
does.
I wanted to ask you about the history of dialectical behavioral therapy is, not to get stuck in about heroin or borderline personality disorder, even though I'm 100% correct about that. The real reason is because if you buy her memoir, by the way, it's a bestseller. Anyone can go buy it. She gets into the details of how she created this modality, and this modality helped save my life, so I'm a big fan. And
You see what I
how
just linked,
she
Sugar?
created it. This is how she created it. Okay. She literally, there's two important things that I want you to really know, Brenda, as you walk around espousing the benefits of dialectical behavioral therapy. First, Marsha Linehan herself was a girl that was in a mental institution as like 14 years old. She was a crazy person. They put her in padded walls, and she was just nuts.
Wait, are you against DBT?
During the day, they would let her go outside, and she would go to a church, and she would pray. And after many months of praying at this church, she was sitting there one day when she had an extreme religious experience. She's a very intense Christian, by the way, Marsha Linehan, the creator of your modality.
Wrap it up. Let's go.
In this church, she had this extreme religious experience in which God cured her mental illness. Okay, and so immediately she was cured.
How did they test that?
And then after that, she went and spent her life.
Well, he's just saying what she said.
Trying to help other people with mental illness. And where she went to search for new tools to treat mental illness, she went to Christian monks and Zen Buddhist monks. That's where she went. Okay? And every tool that she has in dialectical behavioral therapy, she admits she took from Zen Buddhist monks and Christian monks, Brenda. Did you know that?
I believe this would be called the genetic fallacy, wouldn't it?
Did you know that, though?
No, but I would believe this would be called the genetic fallacy, right?
That's right. So I want you to know. I want you to know
Thank
that
you.
All these tools that you're now using to treat your mental illness, and you're espousing to other people to treat their mental illness, they were created thousands of years by Christian and Zen Buddhist monks.
I don't care if they were created by Adolf Hitler. They work.
And that Marsha Linehan herself is a very extremely religious person.
I don't care.
Right?
I don't care. It's a genetic fallacy. It's a genetic fallacy. It really is. It's like textbook genetic fallacy. Marsha Linehan is religious, therefore the therapy she developed is religious. It's the dumbest possible argument you could possibly make.
Brenda, actions are more important than what your belief is, okay? So the fact that you are spreading Zen Buddhist and Christian monk principles and tenets, okay, that's all that
you
matters.
haven't shown that. You haven't shown that. You haven't shown that. No, you haven't. No, you have not. You did not. You made a leap. You made a leap from she had these experiences and she developed a treatment to these are religious practices. You made that leap. That's an unjustified leap.
Every skill in DBT.
Yep, just repeat the claim so you can waste all of our time. Go ahead.
Is a tenet of Buddhism and Christian Buddhism. That is what they are.
Okay.
Do you know what the genetic fallacy is, Sugar?
That's right. The concept of meditation, living in the present moment, This is putting yourself into a trance through meditative skills. All right, to
So, Sugar,
relax.
do you know what the genetic fallacy is?
That's just because something has history makes it right. Something like that.
No, that would
Brandon?
be the opposite of well,
No, that's what it is, Brenda. Okay, and now
On to our next argument.
Furthermore, you can't just write things off like that. There is, when you're looking at
No.
practices,
That's the
that are
entire
carried
point
on,
of the
when you're
genetic
looking at
fallacy is that it's
practices that are carried
irrelevant.
on for thousands of years. All right, it does matter. Okay.
No. That's the entire point, Sugar, of the genetic fallacy.
Trademarks? No. Do you guys believe in trademarks?
No.
Do you believe in
What?
copyright?
Are we talking about trademarks and copyright?
Yes,
Is
it's
copyright a
trademarked.
genetic fallacy, Brenda?
Yes, it's trademarked. Yes,
Is
DBT is
trademark a
trademarked.
genetic fallacy?
Yes, no, it's not. Trademark is
So
not.
I
a
can go and write
genetic fallacy.
Harry Potter word for word and claim that I wrote Harry Potter.
That's not. You're an idiot.
So does
What-
it matter? Does it matter?
What
So
are you
stupid.
going on about?
Does it
When
matter
you make
that
a
the
claim
author-
that is solely
does it
based
matter
on
that the
something
author
or
of Harry
someone,
Potter
shut
wrote it
up,
before I
Sugar,
did?
shut up.
No, you
When
shut
you
up.
make a claim,
Does it matter?
Wait, shut
that the
up,
author
Sugar.
Of Harry Potter wrote Harry Potter before I did. Does that
I
matter?
left the room. Can someone moderate Sugar? This is really annoying.
There are no moderators.
There's
Yeah, she
one.
left because she's a coward.
Yes, DBT is trademarked, and most therapy and psychologists will do that because that's how they can get, they've invested a lot into it. That's just how things work these days. It's no different than, say, a chemist in a university chemistry lab, nevertheless patenting his procedure, patenting, I don't know what, cortisone, right?
It's also a way to protect from malpractice, right? Because if there's a specific treatment that could be done very badly wrongly if you're not doing it right, then they need to have some way of certifying. And to certify means that if you violate the copyright by using the name without the certification, then they can basically sue you or expose you as not certified.
Right,
So
and that makes sure that you can get somebody who, if somebody says, "Oh, well, I'm trained in DBT," that they actually know what the fuck they're doing. Right, Terry?
Yeah.
Yes.
DBT is great. I'm glad you're a fan of it, Sugar.
So when you go to court next time, if someone sues you for copyright, and you sit there and go, "Oh, this is just a genetic fallacy." Who cares if they wrote?
Say that.
Who cares if they wrote it
That's
first?
just
Who
a false
cares if they wrote it
canard.
first?
Sugar, you clearly don't know what the genetic fallacy is.
Clearly, our society has put legal.
You clearly don't
importance.
know what the genetic fallacy is.
Look, why do you keep trying to get into this conversation? All right, we're not. I'm not trying.
You sound like an idiot, and I keep trying to point it out, but you just steamroll past
We were
it.
having this conversation long before you got here. You have added nothing.
Why is that
interesting.
relevant?
Your contributions are whack.
Why is that
listen here,
relevant?
Brenda. In a court of law, we have put incredible legal precedents on who creates things first.
Just fucking
Okay,
kill
it's
screening.
important and it matters. So when you keep just running around saying, "Who cares who created things first? Who cares? It's genetic fallacy. It's genetic fallacy." Obviously, we do care, right?
You're talking nonsense.
How is that
Trademarks
nonsense?
Trademarks have nothing to do with the genetic fallacy. You twat.
Well, then, so when I tell you that monks and Christians have trademarked these practices that you do for thousands of years, then
Have
you're
they?
admitting that
Have
do
they?
have-
They have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Sugar.
they haven't.
Sugar,
Yes, they
can you post the trademark?
Of course. It's called Buddhism and Hinduism. That's
When you
the
make a
trademark.
claim and base its falsity off of something's origin, history, rather than its current meaning or context, that is the genetic fallacy. So simply stealing somebody's work, right, has nothing to do with a claim being made.
Yeah. So this is the problem with white people stealing black people's music. Okay.
What?
Claiming it's their own. This is called cultural appropriation, and it is a big problem. It's an
Wait,
issue.
so hold on,
That's right.
Sugar.
No,
Hold on,
don't do this.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Hold
so
on,
you can't
Sugar.
just
I
just
agree.
steal. You
I
just can't
agree. This
steal.
is just going from bad to
So-
worse.
You
Fucking
can't
kooky.
steal meditation.
Hold on,
and
hold
claim
on,
that
Sugar.
It's, agnostic.
Sugar,
Can't be
are you
done.
saying people shouldn't use DBT because it's cultural appropriation?
No, I think people should 100% use DBT, but they should admit that it is religious practices, like Brenda should.
It's not a religious
The
practice.
problem
not.
is when you take.
It's
The problem
not.
is when you take it. The problem is when you take it from thousands of years. You take something from someone else and then try and say that it's agnostic. That's the whack part. Marshall and the whole
okay,
history-
sugar. Stop talking for a second. When you meditate, what specifically do you do? Do you have a mantra? you have a specific position?
There are many ways
Do
to
you?
meditate. Yeah.
Do you?
Sure.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. Om mani padme hum.
Yeah, yeah.
Om mani
Is
padme
that
hum.
taught? Is that taught in DBT?
It's Tibetan. No, but
no,
DBT
it isn't.
has-
No, it isn't. In DBT, you are not taught a mantra. You are not taught any religious rituals or practices.
There are
None of
1,000
them.
ways to
None of
meditate.
them.
Sugar.
I learned to meditate from DBT, and they absolutely teach you to sit there, focus all your attention in the present moment.
Yes.
They teach you breathing
That's it.
exercises.
And breathing.
If anything in the history of the world, has been copyrighted more than breathing exercises, it's the fucking monks and yogis that invented
breathing exercises are copyrighted?
Yes.
They're copyrighted. They're copyrighted.
Yogis copyrighted breathing.
Maybe you want to use a different word than copyrighted.
He's just a moron. He's
Yogis
just an
copyrighted
idiot.
breathing exercises 4,000 years ago.
Sugar, what do you mean when you say
Copyrighted 4,000 years ago.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Okay.
Wait, Skinny
Copyright
Pete, how much have
infringement
you
law
heard
was
so
not
far?
created 4,000 years ago, Sugar.
Maybe
this
the last
is the
20
reality.
minutes.
This is the reality
Okay.
of Guru Brenda. Okay.
Look,
And I'm glad
so
you learned something about
If
DBT's
you guys
history today.
like, talking to a brick wall that only responds in complete sentences it has prepared, regardless of what the fuck you just said, be my guest.
No, I was addressing Brenda's points
I don't
clearly.
understand
Why
why
was
he's trying
Brenda's
to
point?
equate
No,
a
let's
religious
let's.
experience when
This
he's
should be
appealing
fun.
to the
Let's play the ball pit.
physical fact.
Sugar, what did Brenda just say?
Brenda was arguing that you can't trademark things apparently because it's a genetic fallacy.
What?
No,
Point-
that's
point
not what I
made.
said.
Right? No.
Yeah,
This is where we
she's
stop and
culturally,
let him
she's
go out the
culturally
door.
appropriating things and claiming that she doesn't have to acknowledge their origin or history at all. Really, gross.
No, you can't
yeah,
even.
this is
You
the
can't
thing
even
she's
recount.
Look, but this is just where the room can call him a liar and move on, right? Like, we're fine.
Yeah, I think
Everyone
tend to
else
agree.
here
I tend to agree.
can look at Sugar and look at him for the lying
Brenda,
sack of
what are
shit
your-
he is.